Ready Check Radio. What's up, Internet? It's Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. That means here on Ready Check Radio, it's time for the Relic Grind, the Final Fantasy XIV Square Enix podcast. And we've got add-on drama. More add-on drama. No world first team was caught using camera bots and add-ons or anything like that. Yeah, not the usual add-on drama. We talked a little bit about it last week, but we had an update basically like hours after our last show. So we'll talk about that today and all kinds of other fun Final Fantasy XIV and Square Enix stuff. I'm your host, as always, Mike Byrne, aka Magic Man. This is episode 141. If you're watching on YouTube, listening on Audible, Spotify, any of the podcast platforms, thank you so much. Give it a like, a subscribe, turn on the notifications, thumbs up, reviews, and comments, and all that stuff that feeds the algorithm. But most importantly, if you like what we do here, tell a friend. Stop by, twitch.tv/ReadyCheckRadio. Come on by and see it. Oh, there's like a spider web hanging from my camera. Got him. Nope.
Got him.
No, I didn't. Now I got him. I got him. Yes, now I got him. Yeah. Join us live. The website's right there, readycheckradio.com. There's social links for everything, backlog of all the shows, all that great stuff. Joining me to go over all kinds of fun stuff today, Mr. Chris Montoya, a.k.a. Tarkoth. What's up, sir?
Greetings, programs. Show's a little light today, but, we try to aim to, meet your expectations, unlike maybe Square Enix. So we do our best.
Yeah, everything fails to meet expectations. Might be a little shorter show, but hey, it's a show.
It's a show.
Also on the line from overseas, but god damn it, his camera's like aimed down or aim up a little more than it normally is. There we go. I got him. Mr. Paul Berlin, aka Flynn. What's up, big dog?
Hey, how are you all doing? I don't think I mentioned it last week, but finally did TTRPG, and it was lots of fun.
Yeah.
Some silly stuff can happen.
All right. That's using D&D 5e?
No, it's closer to Pathfinder.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, they developed their own rule set, right?
Yeah, it's
but I thought it was still like loosely based on 5e, but apparently not.
Like for it to work in Foundry virtual tabletop, it basically had to copy the Pathfinder system.
Gotcha.
Right.
Limit breaks are so silly.
Nice.
Gotcha. Well, let's talk about Final Fantasy XI, because that's what we're here to talk about.
Yeah,
no,
it's the 11 podcast, right?
I did hit 99 on the Red Mage since our last show. Yeah. They got
Turned off those merits.
I got that scholar. Well, no, I had to turn it on and off and on and off, right? Because the limit break quests from 75 through like 90, those ones require merit points, which you don't get to spend. You just turn them in. You just surrender them.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, a little sad. But so now it's the capacity points grind for job points. It's merit points. It's gear. I got my first 119 gear set on my Red Mage. Right now we're subbing Scholar, doing a little extra healing and a little white magic, dark magic buffs from the Scholar sub job. Of course, it's not gimped anymore. I did go ahead and polish that off to level 50, so we are 99.49 now. And now we're also working on Ninja, so that I can sub Ninja for some soloing stuff. Give my Red Mage dual wield and do some fun.
Is it still for tanking stuff with Ninja?
Yeah, so that meta is still kind of a thing. Not as much as it was at one point where you could use shadows to tank, but it's still meaningful enough that like you could tank in a pinch for your group type thing. I'm obviously that's not going to apply to my Red Mage. It's just more for increased DPS and more evasion on my own part. So swinging 2 swords instead of 1 as a Red Mage while you're soloing with your trust is always good. So yeah, still enjoying it. Still play. I'm going to play it for just briefly after the show here because I have my monthly conference call with Asia that I got to do. That'll be in about an hour, and then it'll be like I've had so many conference Thursday. The last Thursday of the month is like my worst personal conference call day from work. So it's like, how will I feel after that call? Maybe I'll grind. Maybe I won't. I got Ninja to like 10.
Or but you just multitask and do both.
Right. Well, I have to lead the call, so like I actually have to do a
Oh.
presentation and stuff with them every month. So yeah, but it's still having a blast. We did some more streaming randomly last week, so if you're following us on Twitter, you'll know. If you follow us here on Twitch because you don't want to use Twitter, that's totally fine. Absolutely respect it. Just turn the notifications on and you'll know, because like the last 2 weeks it's just been a random Final Fantasy XI stream. We're hanging out with a bunch of people last Saturday. It was a blast. We had some snafus, like you do in Final Fantasy XI occasionally, but we're having a blast, and now the real grind begins. Yeah, getting to 99 is the easy part. Now the real grind begins.
That's how I feel about my upcoming stream on Saturday. We
What's
finished
going on?
one, and we're moving on.
Did you
to
finally
two,
get
so-
War Mech?
Yeah, God, that took freaking forever. It took forever, and like
You just have
45
that
minutes
knowledge.
of running back and forth on this bridge. Just like, please just spawn. Please just spawn.
I got super lucky then.
Nice.
Did you kill it first try, or did you
Yeah,
have
I
to
killed
pop
him
it
first
once or twice? Okay, you got it first
I
try.
killed him first. Yeah,
Yeah, because that
those
can be
nukes hit hard. Those nukes
Yeah.
hit hard.
yeah, that can be brutal if you have to try and hunt them down more than once.
Mm.
At least like you knew what to expect, so you were prepped. Just imagine us back in the day
Oh yeah.
running into that random encounter, being level appropriate and getting smoked.
Dude, I think I gained like 7 levels just running back from. I'm like, please,
Right.
just please.
Hey, Metallica fan. Yeah, you don't normally catch it live. Welcome, my friend. Yeah, Metallica fan hung out a little bit on the Final Fantasy XI stream this past week.
Nice.
So yeah, maybe I'll stream it again Saturday afternoon. I that's what I did. I like streamed Saturday afternoon. I shut it down, had some dinner, and then came back and did the Gaming Gumbo podcast. So it was a good time. But yeah, so I got Ninja to like 10 or 11. So I gotta get it to like 50. Technically 55 for master levels, but I'm so far away from master levels at this point right now. So we're okay. We'll be fine.
Mhm.
So let's talk about some 14 stuff. We do have a drama. So we talked last show about the whole quote-unquote Stalker add-on and the blacklist functionality, kind of exposing player IDs through this add-on, and then, this add-on tapped into exposed IDs. So the add-on technically wasn't like breaking into anything, right? It wasn't like nefarious in that regards. In what the add-on is used for, yes, you could certainly put nefarious emotions on that, but it wasn't like breaking anything, cracking anything. This was a change in the blacklist, exposed player IDs. This add-on tapped into those, and so if you blacklisted somebody, they could just see your player ID, which meant they could see all of your alts. They could locate all of your alts. So it had been weeks, gents, like weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks, something like that. And we hadn't heard a single word from Square Enix. Well, now we do have official word. Just after last week's show, we got a post, which I forgot to add to this picture. I put the banner and the lower third in here correctly, but I did not put the item I wanted to have displayed here because I am a professional.
I think it amounted to the response anyway.
Yeah. I mean, the response does kind of just amount to a black screen. I'm going to read this in full, gents, so this will take a second because I don't want to pick it apart until after. Like, I don't want anything taken out of context, right? So this is Naoki Yoshida, Yoshi P, regarding the use of third-party programs and player safety. Yoshi P saying, "Hello, everyone. Producer and director Naoki Yoshida here. We have confirmed that there exists third-party tools that are being used to check Final Fantasy XIV character information that is not displayed during normal gameplay. The tool is being used to display a segment of a Final Fantasy XIV's character internal account ID, which is then used in an attempt to further correlate information on other characters on the same Final Fantasy XIV service account." Excuse me, I hiccuped. The development and operations teams are aware of the situation and the concerns being raised by the community and are discussing the following options. 1, requesting that the tool in question be removed and deleted. 2, pursuing legal action. Aside from character information that can be checked in-game and on the lodestone, we have received concerns that personal information registered on a user's Square Enix account, such as address or payment information, could be exposed with this tool. Please rest assured that it is not possible to access this information using these third-party tools. We strive to offer and maintain a safe environment for our players, which is why we ask everyone to refrain from using third-party tools. We also ask that players do not share information about third-party tools, such as details about their installation methods, or take any actions to assist in their dissemination. The use of third-party tools is prohibited by the Final Fantasy XIV user agreement, and their usage could threaten the safety of players. We will continue to take a firm stance against their usage. Naoki Yoshida, Final Fantasy XIV producer and director. Flynn, I'm going to let you go first.
What to say about this? Addon.
I have lots to say.
It just makes me laugh. It's like we're at the point where Square Enix needs to take a stand one way or the other and do something instead of going, yeah, we're reviewing options.
Well, I mean, they gave you two options that they're asking for, that they're considering. They're considering asking them to, hey, please delete that.
Yeah, it'll just turn into the
or legal action. One of the two. So I will say this before I turn it to you, Tark, and I have thoughts on this too, but I'm going to let you go first. That way I don't like put out all the good points and then you're like, hey, you took the good points. Like, I do want to say that I am glad Square Enix finally got painted into a corner regarding add-ons, because I truly believe that this paints them into a corner.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, they may just decide to walk over the fresh paint. I don't know. And totally ignore that they've been painted in the corner. What I'm not happy about is that it's something like this that painted them into a corner, something that could possibly expose a user to additional harassment from another player. You know, that is not how I wanted this corner to be created. So that part is highly unfortunate, but I'm glad Square Enix has been pushed into this corner. Let's see what you have to say first, Tark, before I make a couple of points on it.
So the very beginning of that, we have confirmed that there exist third-party tools. That should be the end of the sentence, and like we need to take action. Like I'm with Flynn. There needs to be like one way or the other. You either approve these things or you don't. Stop writing the middle line. Stop writing that fence. Okay, this is a love it or leave it. Stop writing the fence. Pick a side, because you put these things in place and you have glossed over them. And you know, as long as it's don't show, don't tell, we're fine. You know, as long as we don't quote unquote know about it. So the fact that they're putting them in a corner, like you said, I think is a good thing. They need to do something because it's just getting out of hand, and the experience that a console player like myself and the experience that a PC player has are completely different. So let's normalize that for the sake of the entire game. The fact that they're choosing this one to access information that Square themselves made available through this new blacklist is just laughable. Like, you put this position in place yourselves, so this is your own problem in the making. Whether if they pursue legal action, like it's stuff in the game, like you're not doing it against the other mods. Why are you just picking on this one? I know why they're picking on it. Like I agree with them picking on it, but you can't just do the one. You got to go one way or the other with this whole system.
Yeah. So Yoshi P's two options that he lists there. Number one, asking them to delete it. Sorry, that cat's out of the bag. That shouldn't even have been mentioned. That's not an option. It isn't. Right? One, the database has already been created, linking player IDs to a bunch of characters, right? Yeah. And whether that has now been offshoot to safer shores in other countries or not, I've seen speculation on that, and then honestly, I don't think it's pertinent to the discussion here, but that list exists. Two, You could just say, yeah, sure, no problem. We're going to delete it. That just means the next one that does the exact same thing, maybe a little bit differently, so you can't detect it quite as easily, is not going to be known about by the players to a broad scale like this one is, right? That cat is out of the bag. That is gone. Deleting it is not an option. It just is going to exist in another fashion immediately after it's deleted, whether it's by the same creator or a totally different creator. Okay?
That's what I was saying for the Fight Club analogy. It just becomes, you don't talk about it, it gets spread around one way or the other.
Yeah. The second option of legal action, Tark, I would just kind of echo what you said and maybe extrapolate on it a little bit. It's not unheard of for gaming companies, particularly MMO companies that deal with add-ons and stuff like that, to threaten legal action for something that an add-on is doing. That's not unprecedented. And don't confuse it with lawsuits involving bots or aim assists or cheats. That's different. That is actually software that is breaking the terms of service for the way it's interfacing with the software and with the client and server side information swap and changing things. This is technically not that. But there are instances of add-ons being threatened with legal action. That's not new. But Tark, your point, I think, still stands. And again, this is primarily from a United States legal perspective. It might vary in other countries, particularly Japan. But as soon as you drag me into court, I'm going to ask the judge for a summary dismissal on why I'm here. Because I didn't do anything besides create a third-party add-on that, yes, the use of it in general violates the terms of service. But what the add-on is doing does not violate the terms of service in any other way, like modifying communications between client and server or anything like that. And why have you dragged me here and not all of us here?
Yes.
The ones that created chat bubbles, the ones that created add-ons that facilitate accessibility of the game. And Square has been in this weird spot of there's things that they just either aren't willing to do or, can't make the deadlines to do or just aren't interested in doing that people have asked for. Quality of life things, accessibility things that add-ons have been able to provide, and they just kind of, silently. There is a huge audience of 14, I think, that Square is worried if they take a hardline stance on add-ons that they will lose that portion of the audience. How big that audience is, I don't know. Maybe they have some internal numbers on that. But I honestly think, Tark, that there's a portion of the audience that they're worried about losing if they take away the ability to use some of these quality of life and accessibility add-ons, saying nothing of like DPS meters and all the other kind of add-on stuff that goes on.
I agree with you. I think all of this is just a quagmire of their own making. And it's kind of the opposite of how Nintendo deals with things. Like Nintendo will slam a lawsuit on you for anything, and they're thinking that we have to protect our IPs, our way of going about doing things. And the moment we stop doing that, we leave it open for individuals to take advantage. So Square Enix here has let it be open this entire time, and now they're like, oh, well, now we're going to try to close this down. You're either going to shut it down or you're not. There's just one way or the other on this, and you know what? Too bad. I really don't feel sorry for you because, again, this is your own mess. So fix it.
Yeah,
That's
so
what
what do they got, Flynn? They've got a couple of options here, just holistically, add-ons as a whole, right? You have the ability to say, no add-ons. And if you get caught using add-ons, you're out, and we're going to install some type of mechanism that's monitoring whether add-ons are used. Now, Yoshi P has said in the past that is something he wants to avoid because it does involve what some might consider a little bit of a privacy invade, right? There would have to be a mechanism that is examining what is running on your side of the system when you boot the game up, whether that be add-ons or anything else you might have running. So there's definitely privacy concerns. Yoshi P's right to have them on that front, but that is an option. right? That if it detects add-ons, it shuts the client down, whatever. And maybe there's suspensions and bans and stuff that go with that type of stuff. Flip side, they could allow add-ons. However, they have to go through an approval process with Square Enix to become valid add-ons that are supported, not managed, but supported in a distribution model within Square Enix's purview. Some other games have done that as well. Again, something Yoshi P has specifically mentioned as something they could certainly do, but something he doesn't really want to be involved in doing. So both of the two primary options, dive into the pool and control it, or close the pool up, but maybe have some privacy issues that people get pissed off about. He specifically mentioned those through the years, saying he doesn't want to wade into either one of those pools. So what's the answer then?
It has been a weird case with Yoshi P because he's spent all these years playing other MMOs. He's used to the mod culture, but we do need a stance wherever it's a case of something like Bethesda system where there's approved mods that can be used, user influence ones or whatever, that don't affect too much, but it's enough to toe the line between the major mods that are out there, like your Jeep Bose modifications, your reshade, that kind of stuff. And then there's a line that they could use to bridge the mod gap between console and PC without going too extreme in one way or the other. Because there is a lot of people out there that the whole point of them playing the game is using these mods to alter how their characters look, how other characters look on the screen. So it's not a stance, but they need to make a stance.
Yeah, honestly, I was kind of disappointed with the post as a whole. And I forget my headline on MMO Bomb when I wrote this up. Go ahead, Tark. You wanted to say something.
I was going to say, when we all first saw this, I think we all had strong opinions.
Yeah.
We all voiced our concerns. We're like, this is just a big bag of nothing. Like, what a joke.
Oh, see, I was kind of just news. Oh, no, this was not it. That was Q writing about some of the stuff we're going to talk about here in a moment. I'm trying to find what my headline was, because I was a little angry when I was writing the article. I actually put the emote, what's it called? The vexed emote as the leader image for it. Yoshi P's response to the Final Fantasy XIV Stalker mod is bizarre, and SE has painted themselves into a corner with add-ons. But hey, there's a live letter coming, so there's that. Literally, I was like, this one, it's been 2.5 weeks. For you to start with, we have confirmed the existence of, wow, like, yeah, thanks. I mean, you could have done that on day 1 or day 2. We've confirmed send out a tweet, right? We've confirmed the existence of, we're looking into it. We'll keep you posted. And then 2, to be like, these are the options we're considering, and they consist of asking them politely to stop or taking them to court and having, I think, an extremely uphill court battle, while still not even putting in that list that we're working on something to remedy the situation from our side, right? That was not mentioned in here at all, which was, hey, we're going to revert the blacklist features, or we're for now until we change some things, and then we'll put them back in. Or, hey, we're going to shield this from the client's view. We're going to shuffle and reassign IDs to everybody so that any existing database that has these IDs is moot at that point. And then we will re-enable these blacklist features. And I'm not, as a software engineer, I'm not minimizing the challenge of that task. It seems simple. It's a couple of steps, right?
And it sounds like something that should have been on our post, regardless
right.
of it might take us a couple of months to get done.
It's put some type of shield so that this segment of the player ID is not exposed by the blacklist features to the client the way other information through that add-ons might access, and then a shuffle of the player IDs. Which, that involves adding lookup tables and stuff like that, because you got to retain the old IDs for some of your legacy stuff in your own back end. I get it and everything. But there was like no mention of we're doing something. to protect you from what is, in many cases, is probably nothing, right? Generally speaking, your average player probably doesn't care if you know who all of my alts are. But somebody being harassed by somebody in game definitely cares, and they should. And it's Square Enix's responsibility to protect that, if they can. I mean, right? They can't immediately protect you from getting a nasty text besides giving you the blacklist functionality. But now by utilizing that feature, I'm exposing all of my alts to that character. That's on Square Enix. Yeah. That needs to be addressed by them, and there is nothing in that post about them even looking at. I'm sure they are. I'm not saying that they aren't. I would hope that they are, but it should have been mentioned there, right?
Yeah, I agree.
It is. We mentioned actually. It's funny though. We got two attack names wrong. We'll get that fixed. And there was still radio silence about this. And then we had that post. And it's like, well, now, why do that post if you're not going to say you've got a plan of any variety?
This is such a huge Square Enix Final Fantasy XIV fumble. Like, it legitimately is. And yeah, the add-on creator bears some responsibility for creating this situation too. But as a company, you always have to assume that there's going to be a bad actor somewhere that wants to do nefarious things. Hiding a player ID in what the client or the API tools tapping into the API are able to see, I mean, that just kind of feels like a no-brainer in most situations. And I know he's very careful to say that it's a segment of the ID. I think that's said to him to just kind of imply that it is not the full ID that is being shown, but it's enough that they're apparently unique, right? Even if it's a segment of an ID, if it's enough of a segment to make them one-to-one relational to a player, then you might as well just expose the entire ID. Like, there's no functional difference between those two. It's just very bizarre. It's a self-inflicted wound. I hated this response from Yoshi P. How do you, by the way, how do you guys feel about add-ons in like MMOs in general? Like, I know obviously playing on console for 14 specifically, Tark, you can't use them, and so it's not even a subject of debate for you. But if you're playing something on PC, Elder Scrolls Online, Final Fantasy XI, Guild Wars, like any other MMO that does have some type of add-on culture, how do you feel about them generally?
I played WoW for base game plus 2 expansions. And I thought they were cool. They added some functionality. You could kind of make your experience unique with all sorts of different, colors and UI setups and what you have. There's some mandatory things that like raids or, guilds, alliances will want you to have. But I was generally pretty positive about it. It got to the point though with like World of Warcraft as an example that the mods sometimes played the game for you. I don't see that here in 14 so much. I take that back. I have now seen some mods that will really highlight where you need to be, so you don't even have to think about it. So maybe that's coming down the pipe.
So you don't like deadly boss mods for WoW, stuff like that calls out mechanics, almost does the raid calls for you?
I was okay with it at first, but then as the years went on, and then came to 14, like I appreciate not having that. Like I appreciate that if there's going to be calls, it's from within the group, and it's not forecasted to me.
Flynn, where do you sit on mods? Just generally.
I'm neutral for the most part. I've played some games where I've modded. I've played majority of 14 without ever touching it. It all depends what it's used for. Like Toxin, anything that makes, especially a game like 14 World of Warcraft, too easy or playing the game for you, those it's like nah. But if you just want to make your character look shinier, yeah, you go nuts. If you want to make your own game a bit prettier, you go ahead.
Yeah, I'm kind of add-on agnostic, but I do use add-ons in particular. I can't recall honestly if I've ever used an add-on in 14. I'm going to put myself out there as I probably used a DPS meter at one point in some of like the very early A Realm Reborn or Heaven's Word raiding content, Coils of Bahamut, stuff like that. I feel like I may have for our like kind of static group. I'm not even entirely sure, but let's put me down for maybe I used a DPS meter in 14 at some point. I don't to this day. I don't do raiding that's serious enough to even care about DPS, right? And that would have been the only thing that I think I'd ever used in 14. I use a ton in 11. And I mean, you can see them on my stream. 100%, it's with the exception of a debuff timer, a casting timer, because there is no visual display for casting timers in base 11. The rest of it is all visual because it's PlayStation 2 and it's making it look like it's not a PlayStation 2 or UI because you don't have any options in 11. In WoW, I used to use a lot. Deadly boss mods, all that type of stuff. To me, like just there's, sure, right? Is it telling you what to do when it's like, this mechanic's coming, dodge? Okay, but if I know what that mechanic is that really any different than just watching for a cast bar to start appearing above the boss and then, okay, now move? To me, I'm just like, yeah, fine, whatever. So I used to use a ton in WoW. In Elder Scrolls Online, I used quite a few because the UI is just fucking horrid. In Elder Scrolls Online, as far as being able to tell casting timers and stuff like that. So, but I have used them. I do enjoy them. I've never really had that like stance of, oh, this is playing the game for me, because to me it was always like, oh, it appeared in text in the middle of my screen that I'm going to need to move, rather than me having to look at the top of the screen and see that a cast bar is starting to fill up for a certain ability. Like I kind of equated that I still got to move, right? And I still have to move in the same time. But I understand, Tark, why some people feel that way. It's like, okay, this is making it too easy. You should have to look at the cast bar, or you should have to look at right hand going up versus left hand going up. Like, I totally get that argument.
Yeah,
I just
there's definitely some
never one of mine.
14 right now that's to the extreme. There
Yeah.
was one shown off for one of the ultimates where every AoE was already pre-positioned and they showed you every safe spot.
Yeah,
10
that's-
seconds
Yeah,
before-
I mean, WoW did have that problem a few years back where they started pulling back what the API exposed because they thought some of those boss and mechanic mods were going a little too far, and so they stripped back what the API, what you could access in the API. So it has definitely, even the developers at one point have said, okay, enough's enough. This is too far.
Yeah, Blizzard themselves said that, knowing that deadly boss mods existed, they had to develop fights around them. So yeah, kudos on them to scale it back a bit. But yeah, that could be a problem in 14 if they don't manage it correctly.
Yep. Chaotic Temptress in chat saying, yeah, I feel like if people are using mods for just making themselves look different, cool. You want wiggly ears, whatever. I don't care. But if you're using it to get through raids easier, then no, you need to be banned. Example, the UAV view of that top world first clear team. Yeah, that's kind of to Tark's point there. To Cal saying, Square Enix needs to stop bullshitting and just start scanning people's clients. Don't want to consent to it? Move along. That's certainly a valid argument. It's one we just talked about where, the options are embrace it and moderate it, or ban it and scan it, scan it and ban it. Both tools that Yoshi P doesn't want to be involved in. Like, that's like a privacy thing to him. Okay, I get it. But every other fucking game I play is doing it anyway. Hell, most of the games we play nowadays want to install 5 different anti-cheat software things on top of me. So, not saying that's great or I'm okay with it, but it's what Yoshi P is trying to avoid. I get it. I hated this response though.
Maybe it's not him. Maybe it's like the board's like, hey, maybe he brought it to the boards like, hey, we need to do something. I want to do this.
No,
but we might lose 200,000 players.
That's
like,
my guess.
No.
That is my guess, is that there's a certain percentage impact of if they just blocked mods and did a scan and ban, that they are worried there is a certain subsect of the audience that would just leave.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how big it is, but I can't rationally think of any other reason why, once you have a fumble this bad, you're painted into the corner and you just don't make the call. His response sucked. It sucked. Yeah, I think they were put on an anti-cheat. They would lose hundreds of thousands of players. That's the only reason he won't commit to it. Yeah, chaotic Temptress agreeing with exactly what I just said. That there is a segment I think they're worried about. Anyway, on top of a bad response, Yoshi P did his stroll and did reveal a couple of things that we didn't quite know for sure yet. We knew were coming-ish, but we didn't know for sure. Revealed information about field exploration content called Occult Crescent. Oh, God, that word was hard. Occult Crescent, or Crescent Isle. That will be implemented. This is something related to support jobs, hence the Final Fantasy V sprites coming in patch 7.2. Unsure if it's 2 or 2.5.
I think it was 2x.
Yeah, it's 2x. Cosmic Exploration will be in patch 7.2 as well. So we got some, what we presume to be the Relic content, right? The Relic operations, the Relic zones, whatever the hell you want to call it, revealed in his little stroll. So I would expect that we'll probably see that in the next live letter then, huh?
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I don't know if we're going to get a lot of meaty details about it, because I think we'll have this live letter and then one more. So this might just be broad strokes, and then we get more details on the last one before the patch.
Probably be the stereotypical part 1 live letter.
You think this would be in the part 1?
They'll at least mention it, maybe show off a piece of artwork on a piece of paper, then show us gameplay in the second part.
Here's the paladin weapon.
Yeah.
Holding them up to the screen.
Here's what the island looks like.
Yeah. What else do we got?
Our boss model. Do you like
Valentine's Day comes back February 3rd, runs through the 14th. So go ahead and get your ass over to Old Gridania. This year, for your rewards, you can expect a heartfelt Valentine's Day advertisement wall mount for your homes. And you can also expect the bouquet mount, where you basically kneel down in a proposal position and offer a bouquet to somebody.
That's nice. I like that one.
It is kind of a neat looking emote. I do like it. It's not a minion, but I guess it'll do. Speaking of said live letter, we do know when part 1 is coming. That's going to be Friday, February 7th at 3 a.m. Pacific time.
My Lord.
6 in the morning, East Coast United States time on Saturday, February 8th at that point. Or no. Still Friday. Yeah, okay. I see what they did with the times here. My bad. Friday, February 7th at 6 a.m. Eastern. You can, of course, watch it on YouTube, Nico Live, and Twitch. That's going to be on 7.2 Part 1 and a few other miscellaneous updates.
What time is that
coming soon? It's going to be like noon for you. It's 11 or 12. I can't remember if you're on daylight savings right now.
No, it's 11 a.m.
Yeah, so it's 5 hours ahead of me. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's perfect for you. Get up, have some lunch. Sit there and watch it. Tark and I are watching it like this.
That'll be me trying to wake up for it. It's like,
I mean, I have to be at
what
work.
Do you mean wake up for it? It's 11 in the afternoon.
I have a sleeping disorder. My sleep is.
I guess not technically afternoon, right? Oh, okay. Well, all right. Fair enough.
It's why I could do this show, is because my brain's screwed.
We also have a collaboration going on with Black Milk, who does some clothing, like glamourish clothing. And they've had collaborations with other games too, but they're doing a Final Fantasy XIV one, and I was like, oh, that could be pretty awesome. And ladies, or anybody who's into wearing dresses of any type, yeah, it is pretty fucking awesome.
I was going to say,
for anybody that's not a fan of a dress, get boned. We got a t-shirt for you. That's it.
Fire. That Eorzean map dress is fire. That is awesome.
Yeah. So there's going to be like 12 different pieces in this collection. They've only shown off like 3 or 4, so who knows what else is there. I'm being a little facetious about what they've shown off. There will be more. Yeah, we might get 2 t-shirts. But yeah, like this little, kind of, what is this? I don't want to say the wrong thing. Is this like a romper dress? Do I have that right? Can Can we get somebody to well, there's Faye's in chat. Faye can fact check me. This is like a little one-piece mini job here made out of the Eorzean map, which is pretty awesome. Pretty cool. I brought the wife over when I saw these, and I was like, hey, what do you think of these? And she was like, oh, my God, they're cute. I'm like, all right.
I'm like,
all right.
My brain is
I know what to
went
get
to
her for
show me
birthday.
where on the Ferris Emmett Cell Curtie.
Then we got this little two-piece number. I think it's two-piece. I couldn't quite tell by the picture.
Like it is. It looks like a top and a
yeah,
skirt.
there is some overlap there on her left hip, but if you look at like the full-size image, it looks like it's just the shirt is over top of the skirt. It doesn't look like it's a half-connected one-piece thing. So this is like a two-piece top and bottom with the old Tom berries on it. Yeah,
it's a fun
pretty
one.
Cute. And then we've got, hey, there you go. Not a fan of dresses. Have a crystal t-shirt.
There you go. I mean, it's shattered now, but sure.
I don't think I pulled the picture of this because it actually, when I was putting it in B-roll initially, I was like, yeah, you can't really tell. There is also a very cute full length shoulder to ankle, like black sheer lacy dress. And you can't really tell until you blow up the image what's going on in the dress because it's all the job icons in circles.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Awesome.
I had to blow it up to really tell. But it's like this little lacy number, and it just has the job circles, job icon circles.
Cool.
Yeah, it looks really cool. You love 14, but it seems they spend more time communicating about merch than communicating about game news.
I mean, to call that's not totally wrong.
Yeah.
You have the QVC portion of live letters has sometimes gone a little out of control.
Yeah.
There's a Black Mage hoodie.
Yeah, so this is, let's just sticking with the clothing stuff. This is not part of the Black Milk collaboration. This is actually from the Square Enix Japanese e-store. They're putting up a few new clothing pieces for pre-order. I think the pre-order starts, the first 2 days from now? Or no, the pre-order's live. The sale's the first, sorry. These are Kingdom Hearts Halloween Town hoodies and jackets. And they look so badass.
They do.
They look incredible. So, yeah, if you're a Kingdom Hearts fan, particularly of Halloween Town, might want to go check out the Japanese e-store. See if you got a friend over there. They can, maybe arrange some shipping for you if you're not able to quite get the order to go through on your side, depending on where you're at in the world. But definitely worth taking a look at. Very cool. Some miscellaneous things. Gents, whoops. I did not mean to start the intro again. I meant to hit the solo shot there. A few tidbits here from Square Enix. Square Enix actually had to backtrack this week, if you didn't see it, because the internet got all in a tizzy.
Yeah.
Why? Well, there was a December interview. This is so stupid. This is so dumb. There was a December interview where Hamaguchi-san was talking about Final Fantasy VII, right? He's been busy at work with Final Fantasy VII. And he had said something about Aerith that got translated as this sort of sisterly character pulling Cloud along and encouraging him. That's how it got translated. This sort of sisterly character pulling Cloud along and encouraging him. To which the internet, the fans of Aerith and Cloud being a couple, they were not happy. And were pissed that it seemed like Square Enix was officially acknowledging that the only option for romance for Cloud is Tifa.
Yeah, they forget dialogue that exists in the game.
Yeah.
Thanks to Cloud's mother's.
Yeah, it didn't go over, as Push Square put it, it didn't go over well with the legions of rabid Aerith stands.
That was one of the best parts of Remake, was like the discussion, like who's the best girl? Is it Tifa? Is it Aerith? Is it Jessie? I was a big Jessie fan. But when you have that discussion and you got your fans about it, And then Square's like, no, really, that really isn't a good option. You're like, you're cutting the knees out of people that really like that option. So I understand it, but it is a little bit ridiculous. The backtrack is.
Yeah, I mean, they actually had to backtrack. Hamaguchi-san went to Automaton via IGN for translation's sake here and suggested that this statement, hey, sorry, this was a misunderstanding that might have come from differences between the Japanese and English languages, and said, as creators, we will continue to convey the relationships between our characters through our content. For example, no one will make official statements about who Cloud likes, who Aerith likes, and so on. You know, with so much going on in the world, I'm glad we can finally put one issue to bed. Just put one issue to bed.
I mean, there are people that like the Red 13 Cloud combination. Like, teach their own.
Sakaguchi. Who's talking about Sakaguchi? Did somebody mention Sakaguchi and I just had a stroke? Chat's talking about not wanting to hear from Sakaguchi.
I think Tikal might have you to say Hamaguchi.
Yeah, Hamaguchi for Final Fantasy XIV. Yeah. I'm not talking about Sakaguchi. Hey, Flynn, I think it was you last year that added this to the show notes at one point as like a, hey, let's mention this. And it was about Tose. Tose, maybe. I just whatever the pronunciation is. Tose, right? It was a company that works, a Japanese video game development house, and they work on a ton of things that you just don't know about, right? Like they partner with Nintendo and Square Enix and a ton of different things. And I think you threw it on the show because they had just recently worked on like Paper Mario and Crisis Core for the Switch version. And they had about halfway through last year announced almost 2.28 million in losses in a 9-month period. And its Q3 report was nasty, and it led to most of their down stuff led to a bunch of clients canceling projects. We don't know if Square Enix was one of them, but we suspect they might have been. And policy changes and other factors. Well, just to give you an update now, later, 9 months later, they've got their finances turned around, which is very nice to hear.
Good.
Yeah, very nice to hear. Most of this comes in large part due to their recent work with Tales of Grace's F Remastered, which is being received very, very well and is selling very well. So yeah, things look to be turning around. They've got a ton of other projects still in the works. We suspect that some of their credits could include assisting with the graphics on the original Dark Souls and music on Dragon Quest 11. But again, just to like give you an idea, they are so behind the scenes that they've probably touched more projects than we even remotely know about. So it's very, very good to see that. Very good to see that. Must have misheard. Heroes. Okay, yeah. Unsung heroes. So congratulations to them getting their finances back in order. And here, I want to show you this. If you are a Final Fantasy TCG fan like myself, I've been known to play here and there a little bit. There was a stream last week. They showed some spoilers and stuff for one of the upcoming sets, which is cool. But they also showed this, and we don't have a lot of details because they didn't talk about it much, and it's all subject to translation anyway. It's much like the live letters, right? This is the Champions deck. This is apparently going to be a product scheduled for release in September of this year. The World Championships 2024, the winning deck ready to use as a pre-built deck. Now, that box looks a little big, and Worlds was a 2-deck format, so I don't know if like both decks are going to be in here, and that makes a little more sense with the box size. I think this is a really, really, really cool idea, and I wanted to get your guys' take on it because I know, Flynn, you in particular play other games. I know back in the day, and they maybe still do it, I don't know, when I played, Magic the Gathering used to do this. They used to package like the World Championship decks. Pokemon used to do this as well. Now, the thing that both of those companies did, though, that I'm a little worried Square might do, and I think it's kind of a bad thing for them is they had a special back design making them illegal for use in like competitive play. And I really hope Final Fantasy doesn't do that. I don't think Final Fantasy TCG is anywhere near big enough to be releasing cards that nobody's going to care locally, right? When you go to your locals, I'm not going to care if you borrowed 3 X's out of your championship deck to put it in here. Like, I'm not going to care. But competitively, I'm hoping that these are just normal back cards and they're treating this as more of a reprint of some cards than like a special back design and all that stuff. I hope.
Yeah, I hope so. Like I say with the Pokemon one, it's like it was really cool. It's like you spend the equivalent of $20, I think. You get a deck that's got a different back with whatever the theme of that World Championship was. You get a pin and winner signatures on the front of the card. But again, they're not tournament legal, so it's like, yeah, it's cool to have, but at the same time, they're trying to reprint a 300, 400, 500 pound plus deck for $20. So that's what I'm worried myself for this. I would love to just pick up one of these, have something here.
Yeah, get some competitive.
Deck. Own a competitive deck that I don't have to spend hundreds of pounds on.
Well, that box looks big, and it was a 2-deck format, but it says the winning deck. Well, I mean, there wasn't one winning deck. You know, you had to win with 2. That was the whole point.
Unless they're doing like a fancier deck box coming with sleeves or something.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to get details. And it's like, which deck? Did the champion get to pick? Because that would be kind of cool. I mean, the world champion gets to pick like one of the upcoming promos, and it gets stamped with world champion and year and their name and stuff when it's distributed. So there are additional prizes there too. But I'd kind of just like to see, hey, throw 2 decks in there, make them tournament legal, just reprints of competitive cards. And here's a pre-built competitive deck as of the most recent Worlds. Love it. Please don't give it a special back, making it tournament illegal. I think that's just silly for a game as
stamp on the front of it saying.
I think that's just silly for the size of Final Fantasy TCG. Tark, you added one thing pretty close to showtime here. What is this? I didn't get a chance to look at it.
Well, Sakaguchi, the father of Final Fantasy,
now we're going to talk about Sakaguchi.
Now we're talking about
now we're talking about it. Okay. Okay.
There you go, Takal. Sorry, Takal, it's not what you wanted. But, he made a little game called Fantasian over for the Apple Game Store. I'm glad it has now been, re-released with enhancements stuff by Square and is now on consoles. I need to get into it, and maybe after Pixel Remaster, we dive into that. But so he thought that was going to be his last game. Apparently, he's got one more in him. So he's got one more game, and he's considering it to be a successor to Final Fantasy VI. So I'm hopeful that it's not 6, more like spiritual successor, not actual like 6-2. But yeah, I'm excited to get one more game from what I consider to be one of the masters, and I hope it's published by Square Enix, because I think those two have kind of reconciled and they're working together again pretty nicely.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be spiritual successor. I don't think this is going to, I feel like Square, if this was a partnership for anything Final Fantasy or Final Fantasy VI officially related in any way, Square would not have let him say this publicly until they had a chance to put their advertising together. But he said, it's generally going to follow a similar style to my previous works, and it'll be something that can be a successor to Final Fantasy VI in a good way. Our goal is to create something old but new at the same time. It'll be part 2 of my farewell note. So yeah, I wouldn't expect it to be like directly 6 related, but if he's talking about Flynn, like the concept of just a multiple main character cast and like all the stuff that we look back at 6 and go, hey, that was pretty cool, and we really don't see a lot of that, I'm game. Like, even if it's not Final Fantasy VI directly related.
Yeah, it's very much like playing Fantasian. It has got those vibes of the early NES RPGs where I go against boss, I'm getting my backside absolutely destroyed. So having that sort of era vibe is, bring it on.
Let's go and do Love It or Leave It. Love it or leave it is the way we end every episode of the Relic Grind here. It's where I'm going to give you something Square Enix related. Could be a game, a feature in a game, something they did, something they said, or just something tangentially related to Square Enix because it's my show and I'll do whatever the hell I want. And
Nice.
you tell me whether you like it, love it, want more of it, or leave it, throw it away, and never to be seen again. And I have a feeling I know where everybody's going on this one, so I'm more interested in you, dear viewer, and your opinion. Put it in the comments below, whether that's on YouTube or right over on ReadyCheckRadio.com. Like it, love it, or leave it. Tark, Yoshi P's response to the, quote, Stalker mod.
Absolutely love it. Oh, no, wait. I'm sorry. I messed that up. Leave it. It's awful. Like, just, it's corporate speak, and it's fence
not
riding,
even
and
good
we
corporate
don't fence
speak.
ride. If we don't fence ride here on Love It or Leave It, okay? So leave it and make some changes.
It's not even good corporate speak.
It was just bad. It was
Leave
awful.
it. It's absolute trash. Flynn? Yeah, he left it. That's going to do it here for us on Ready Check or on the Relic Grind. Don't go anywhere, chat. Right after the show, we've got Faye Death. She's back. How are you, Faye?
Oh, hey, I'm hanging in there. And y'all said you couldn't make it an hour. I believed in you.
Yeah, we're just shy. We talked about add-ons more than I thought we were going to talk about add-ons.
Fair. That's
What are
fair.
you playing today?
We are back in Baldur's Gate, and I'm very excited about the Black Milk collaboration. I will be providing you with a full investigative journalist report on the details.
I find that satisfactory.
Yeah.
Chat, don't go anywhere. Give us a minute or two just to relabel things for Faye. We'll go dark, bring it back up, and you can hang out and play some Baldur's Gate 3. That's going to do it for the show here today. We'll be back next Thursday with another episode of the Relic Grind. But if you're not doing anything Saturday, who knows? I might just show up with another Final Fantasy XI stream out of frickin' nowhere and leading into the Gaming Gumbo podcast Saturday evening. Until next week, Flynn, where can everybody find you?
You can find me mostly on Twitch when I stream at Within Crisis.
Tark?
Go sure to YouTube, all at Tarkov Gaming. You can find me also here on Ready Check Radio Saturday night, where we're starting Final Fantasy II, the redheaded stepchild of Final Fantasy.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there at Magic Man 1, but more importantly, follow at RC Radio, RAIDEO, and you'll know every time we're going live with a podcast, gaming with Faye or Tark or Torchwick or any of us or me, or a Final Fantasy trading card game, locals on Monday night. Until next time, gang, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers. Later.